Hello learners, this is Excel with Habiba. Under Sociological Foundation of Education, today we are going to discuss education as related to social stratification and social mobility. Social stratification refers to the hierarchical arrangement of groups of people in terms of criteria like economic wealth, property, political power, prestige, and social honor. So, social stratification existed as far back as human civilization itself. When human beings moved from the hunting and gathering societies to the sedentary agricultural societies, a variety of occupations developed that were essential to the functioning of the society. Now, inevitably, these occupations were ranked hierarchically, usually based on the amount of preparation and training required or the importance of that occupation to a particular society. This kind of unequal arrangement of groups of people existed for centuries and it was accepted as a part of the society. Now, it is felt that social stratification is necessary to maintain social order. The order is maintained by the interdependence of individuals and groups on each other. According to Petrim Sorkin, an eminent sociologist, an unstratified society with real equality of its members is a myth which has never been realized in the history of mankind. So, since the second half of the 19th century, four broad sociological theories have been used to explain and interpret the phenomenon of social stratification. What are they? Natural superiority theory, functionalist theory, Marxian class conflict theory, and Weberian multiple hierarchies theory. We are not going to in detail about these theories, just I have touched so that we should understand what are all there in this stratification theories. So, let's understand one definition here. Social stratification is a social hierarchy where individuals and groups are classified on the basis of wealth, occupation, education level, race or gender, we can say. Now, what are the implications here? Its implications include unequal access to resources, power and opportunities. It can perpetuate social inequalities, affect social cohesion and limit mobility, potentially leading to social tension and conflict. So, what are the factors here for this social stratification? Number one, economic status. 2. Racial and ethnic stratification, then gender stratification, age stratification, educational stratification, caste system, religious stratification. So, these are all the factors which lead to this stratification, social stratification, where we are living in a society, there are different categories or classes we can say here. The main part of our topic is education as related to social stratification. Sociologists like Durkheim view the major function of education in any society as the transmission of that society's norms and values. According to them, education provides a link between the individual and the society, and it provides the individual specific skills necessary for the future occupations, which is the most important factor in the modern social stratification system. Now, Parsons in the year 1961 believed that the educational system is an important mechanism for the selection and allocation of the individuals in their future roles in the society. It is also regarded as the ground for providing one's ability and hence selective agency for different statuses according to their abilities. However, this argument is rejected by people like Bowles and Gintz, who argued that the social relationships in the schools replicate the hierarchical division of labor in the workplace. There is a close correspondence between the social relationships which govern the personal relationships at the workplace and the social relationships in the educational system. Nextly, Raymond Bowden in the year 1974 also suggests that the inequality of educational opportunity is primarily a product of social stratification. According to him, even if there were no subcultural differences between classes, the very fact that people stand at different positions in the class system will produce inequality of educational opportunity. Thus, the essence of social stratification is social inequality, and it manifests itself through many forms such as differential allocation of income, status and privileges, opportunities for various social utilities, etc. And the educational achievement is very important in all these aspects. Now, in the open systems of stratification such as class system, the movement upward and down the strata is possible, and in the closed ascription based stratification systems such as caste, where the boundaries between various strata are rigid, the movement is extremely difficult here. Now, further, there are various correlates of the relationship between education and social stratification in a society. Most important of them is that the education is the primary generator of social mobility in any modern industrial society. This relationship is little complex to understand. For instance, the education is the main component in achieving a status in the social class system on the one hand, and stratification system is the deciding factor in the differential access to education on the other hand. Therefore, the relationship between education and social stratification is very complex and can only be understood in relation to the concept of social mobility. So, now let's understand about social mobility here. Social mobility may be understood as a transition of individual or any object or a value that have been created or modified by human activity from one position to another. So, it can be said that the social mobility is an important concept to understand the movement of certain groups of individuals along the ladder or the hierarchy. Now, the element of time is implicit in the phenomenon of social mobility, which is a movement either upward or downward between higher and lower classes, or more precisely movement between one relatively lower position to the subsequent higher one. Then let's see here the social mobility definition here. Social mobility is a concept from the social sciences that explains the ability of individuals or groups to change their position within their society's class structure during the lifetime. Now, what are the types of this mobility? Absolute mobility, that is getting a university degree, that is absolute. Then vertical mobility, that is getting a promotion. You are in one position, you are getting the promotion vertically, that means you are getting their promotion at work. Then horizontal, vertical means going high, getting promotion. Then horizontal mobility, that is hypergamy, that is marrying up. That means you are making more family members by adding one more person to your family, that is horizontal mobility. Then intergenerational mobility, that is unexpected inheritance if you are getting. Then the fifth one, intragenerational mobility, that is business success. So, these are the types and examples of social mobility. Now, here about this, various thinkers and theories in sociology have talked about the notion of social mobility also. We are not going in deep about those things, but we would like to discuss about the factors affecting the social mobility. First one, the supply of vacant status. What does it mean? The number of statuses in a given stratum is not always or even usually constant. For example, the expansion in the portion of professional, official, marginal and white collar positions and decline in the number of unskilled labor positions require surge of upward mobility. These positions retain their relative social standing at times. Now, demographic factors also operate to facilitate mobility when the higher classes do not reproduce themselves and hence create a demographic vacuum. This is given by Sorokin in the year 1959. Then the next one is the interchange of rank. That means any mobility that occurs in a given social system which is not a consequence of a change in the supply of positions and actors must necessarily result from an interchange. Consequently, if we think of simple model, for every move up, there must be corresponding move down. That means interchange mobility will be determined in a large part by the extent to which a given society gives the numbers of lower strata, which means complete with those who enter social structure in higher level. Thus, the lesser the emphasis a culture places on the family background as a criteria for marriage, the more will be the class mobility that can occur both upward and down through marriage. The occupational success is related to educational achievements which are open to all and hence the greater occupational mobility. Lipset and Zetterberg in the year 1966 has given this meaning, the concept. Then the third one is modern education. The education has particularly created new incentives and motivation to initiate and adopt the ideals, practices, behavior patterns and style of life of the higher castes, which M.N. Srinivasan in the year 1965 translates and explains under the process of Sanskritization and Westernization. What is Sanskritization? It is a process through which the lower caste imitate the traditions and cultural practices of the upper caste and sometimes even the nomenclature to push their case for a higher status in the society. There are many instances of the lower caste that have adopted the practices of higher castes in order to be upwardly mobile, which is otherwise not possible in the traditional Hindu society. The process of westernization in terms of adoption of the Western ideals in life is also a most potential force in social mobility, especially in the urban and industrial centers. The new value orientations, motivations, behavior patterns, formal relations, individualism, monetized attitude to social status, Western technology is popular among the people. This popularity for status upliftment encourages the migration to place where economic opportunities in terms of urban trade, industrial occupations and jobs in different governments are available. That's why our children go to our other countries in search of jobs or the upward movement. Then the fourth one is migration. Migration to urban areas from villages, rural to urban areas, that is villages to cities, also contributes to the change in the social status of individuals and groups. The traditional occupations slowly disappear and the modern industrial occupations are sought after. All these factors help in the improvement of the social position of the people. Normally, the higher the income of a particular occupation, the greater is the importance of education. However, though money makes the base of living, education decides the quality and mode of life and living. As a result, lots of changes have come in the living arrangements of the people in the modern societies. The changes also occur in the behavior and manners of the people, which may be the outcome of social mobility. So, these are the factors affecting social mobility. Now coming to the main topic, that is education as related to social mobility. As discussed earlier, education in the present day context is the most important and dynamic, that means ever changing dynamic force in the life of individual, influencing his social development. It functions more as an agent of social change and mobility in social structure. It leads to economic development by providing ways and means to improve the standard of life. Now, the positive attitude towards education leads to socio-economic mobility among the individuals and groups. That means a person who is born in an agricultural family can by means of education become an administrator or any other government employee. Secondly, education leads to the changes in the lifestyles of people. That means it modifies the attitudes, habits, manners and their mode of social living. Thirdly, the education is responsible for intergenerational mobility among the individuals and groups. Through this mobility, the social groups are able to maintain their status and the status of their family. Therefore, it can be said that education plays an important contributory role in the mobility of individuals and groups regarding their social position, occupational structure, styles of life, habits and manners. So, this is all about social stratification and mobility. If you like the class, please do like, share, subscribe and comment below. I'll come up with the next class in the next video. Until then, thanks for your attention and time. Happy learning.